Hi, my name is Patrick Egan, and in just 1 minute you're going to hear how just taking one action a day could extend your life beyond expectation. It's the same action taken by a man whose miraculous story inspired me to take similar actions. That man is Peter Willoughby, the CEO of Simply Naturals. When I first discovered the plant-derived minerals, I was a bit cynical and sceptical, so I sent Peter several emails querying this and questioning that, and each time Peter's responses were concise and reassuring. So I agreed to take their 3-month challenge using his company's flagship product, plant-derived minerals. What you see before you is a before and after picture, basically, which Peter has asked me to share with you. In Christmas 2012, I couldn't believe that I was still hungry and when I was eating plenty, and evidently I've now discovered that I was undernourished and probably mineral deficient. Move forward 8 months from there, my daughter and I have been taking daily amounts of Simply Natural minerals. I have no food cravings. I've got greater alertness, more stamina, more fitness, more muscle, less fat. My daughter, last year, aged 9, did the 1.6 swimathon for Mary Curie Cancer Care, and it took her 1 hour and 29 minutes. This year, having been taking the minerals for approximately 4 months, she completed the 2.5 kilometre swimathon in just 3 minutes more. Oh yes, and I completed the 5k and took 10 minutes off my personal best. So sit back and listen to Peter Willoughby's incredible story, and don't forget to take the opportunity to claim your free samples at the end of the video. Thanks for listening.
But I got smashed up by a lorry, motorbike accident back in 1980, and I really was totally smashed to bits. The only things that weren't broken were my spine and my right arm. Everything else was in pieces. And when you go back that far as a young fit teenager and you're stuck in a hospital bed for 6 months, you've got to think to yourself, well, where's my life going? You know, what can I do? And the trees outside are all green and the sun's out, and you just want to be out there. And then the autumn comes and the trees start going brown, and the next thing you know, all the leaves are dropping off the trees. You're kind of sitting there thinking, I'm wasting my life being in a hospital bed, but I couldn't walk, couldn't do anything. Eventually got out into a wheelchair and really just had to get my act together to see what I was doing in life. And you know, dare I say, lots of people in the bed next to me, they kept moving these people in, and I kept talking with them, and next thing I know, they were dead. You know, one chap I was talking to, and he literally passed away as I was talking to him. And it's quite an experience, quite humbling. So, totally transformed my life. It absolutely changed the way I thought about everything. You know, a career, what's a career? Just everything. And all that kept going through my mind was what the doctors were telling me. When I'm an old man, I'm going to have false knees, false hips, false ankles, false elbow. You know, my head will fall off. All kind of these types of things. But it planted a seed, and there was another seed on the other side. And one seed was, and it's talking the financial seed. That seed was, I wasted all this time in a hospital bed. I spent all of these months in a wheelchair. I was on crutches for years. Could I get that time back? No, it's gone. So what could I do? I could stop work as soon as I could. And that was really my only option. And that was to find a way to earn money without having wasted my time going to work, to a job, to earn it. So of course I've thought about property, rental and things like that, but anyway, life moved on. The other seed that was niggling away at me was all the problems that I was due to get in my future life. Now bearing in mind that was 1980, now we're 2013, so 33 years? A long time, and you know, I'm overdue hip replacements, I'm overdue ankle replacements, you know, knee replacements. My elbow should have been done. So what did I do different? I researched, I investigated, I looked at everything that could prevent the onslaught of arthritis, to prevent future challenges. And cutting the story back a bit, I actually found, exactly as Adele touched on, that the root cause of virtually everything we find that's a disease or an ailment in the human body today is the lack of minerals. that the mineral deficiency in our soil, it's not make-believe, it's fact. If the minerals aren't in the soil, they're not going to be in the food that grows in that soil. It's just that simple. And if you think about it, if you keep growing and keep growing in the same soils, you're just continually depleting those minerals. So I researched and I scoured the world to the point where I was getting on aeroplanes going to see people about what it was I needed. I ended up ultimately in America, a very small company out there providing the liquid version of our minerals, big litre bottles, and every year I was buying a huge box, shipping it over, and that was when I first started on the plant-derived minerals many, many years ago. Had I not done that, as it says there, I'm convinced, along with some of the world's top heart surgeons, that I'd be dead today. Now, here's a great question for everybody when we're talking about plant-derived minerals. Who has ever had a test called an angiogram? Few people know about angiograms. An angiogram's probably, I've been through some muck and bullets in my time, but an angiogram is where they pop a tube in your artery and you get a video of the inside of your arteries. And I had one of these angiograms done. And what the angiogram showed is that the inside of my arteries were abnormal. But they were abnormal in a really positive way. The heart surgeon that did the test, the normal chap at the Royal Brompton in London, couldn't do the test. The average guy that did these angiograms, he wasn't allowed to because I had something that was a bit abnormal called an aortic aneurysm. And the guy they brought in to do the test was a guy called Professor Anthony Rickards. He did the test and he said, "You're abnormal. You've been putting acid through your arteries." And I'm kind of laughing about this. I kind of felt a hero to be on this hospital bed and this big video screen above me. He said, no. He said, "You don't understand. Your arteries are too clean. They're too good. They're like a teenager. There's no furring, there's no calcification, there's no signs of hardening. It's a miracle. They're abnormal. What are you doing?" And all I've been doing was consuming these minerals. And the little thing I had called an aortic aneurysm, he explained this to me. Now, for those, I assume there's people in the audience that don't know what an aortic aneurysm is. Okay, and for those that don't, what it is the main, in this case, the main artery that comes out of the heart, it has a weakness in the wall, and this dated back to my motorcycle accident. And the weakness starts to balloon, and it produces, in effect, like a little bubble on the artery. If that bursts, you're dead. There's no ifs or buts. You've got a minute, a nice dizzy feeling, so I'm told, and you're dead. And this Professor Anthony Rickards was telling me, when they get to about 3 centimetres in diameter, they get painful. You notice them, and it's about time you should think about getting something done. When they get to 5.5 centimetres, that's when they become volatile. And they usually burst at 5.5, 6.5 centimetres. This baby I had in here was 10.5 centimetres in diameter. It was horrific, unbeknown to the medical profession, to the point where Anthony Rickards was lecturing other heart surgeons that morning. He invited them to come in and see this miracle that hadn't burst, just so they could witness it, to see what had happened. I felt quite a hero, I must admit, but then he turned around and said to me, "We don't know what we can do with it. We can't stent it, we can't repair it." And all they could do, literally, and John loves this bit, they cut it out and put a bit of Gore-Tex tube in its place. That was problematic, and I won't step into that today. That's another part of my saga of life. So, had it not been for these plant-derived minerals, that would have burst, most definitely. And I wouldn't be here today to share this time with you or anybody else for that